So I'm going to be going over these three problems that I posted in the classroom, and I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth on how to approach and solve these problems if you're having a little bit of trouble. So looking at number one, it says during the 1970s, the United States was hit with an oil embargo, which dramatically increased the price of energy. Explain how this would impact the output, which is our real GDP, inflation, which is our price level, and the unemployment rate, which is going to be related to both these things. So if you are more of a visual learner, we can start with drawing our aggregate supply, short run aggregate supply, and aggregate demand. And on the y-axis, we're going to have our price level, and this is going to show inflation. This is going to be real GDP, also known as economic output. So to start this problem, let's just say we are in this equilibrium. Here is our real GDP. And this question says, the United States is hit with an oil embargo, and it is dramatically increasing the price of energy. So I know maybe energy sounds a little bit vague, but when you think about oil, you kind of naturally start to think about gas. And if you want to picture for a moment all of the companies, all of the businesses that rely on transportation to get their job done, then maybe we can see this problem a little more easier. So if these companies, right, and when we're talking about companies, that's the supply. That's going to be our aggregate supply. These businesses that are supplying the consumers in aggregate demand. And if these businesses all of a sudden have to pay more for their energy, let's just say electricity and gas, it's going to be more difficult and more expensive for this company to produce goods. So you have to ask yourself the question, because of this oil embargo, is our supply going to decrease to the left? Are we going to have a shift to the left like this? Or is this oil embargo going to shift the SRAS to the right? And you can notice, depending on your answer, what will happen to the price level. If you're saying the supply is increasing, look what happens to the price level. The price level is decreasing. And then look what happens to our real GDP. That is going to be increasing as well. And if you say the SRAS is going to be shifting to the left, well, then there is our price level. And there is our real GDP. And this question also asked for an explanation of the unemployment rate. And it's important to remember that real GDP is also a reflection of unemployment. The reason being that the way we calculate real GDP is based off of spending. So the more people who are employed, the more people will be spending because they have the money to spend. So if real GDP is increasing, that's usually associated with a lower unemployment. And if real GDP is decreasing, that's going to mean that unemployment is increasing. We have more unemployment. Less people have money and less people are spending their goods. So these are kind of the notes on how to tackle question one. And question one is really just you actually don't have to you don't have to graph this. All you have to do is write a sentence. The graph is just there to kind of help you out.